what I found is that when I'm sort of either working with clients and things, one thing that everyone always complains about is being able to fund their business, getting funding, especially for small businesses. So I thought it'd be good to just, delve into your experience. But first, ask for those who don't know about Bind London. So who you are, what you do, and who do you serve?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Kayleigh Benoit, and I'm the founder of a high fashion sportswear brand called Bind London. Bind London is a fitness and athleisure brand and specialises in workout headwear for all hair types and textures. So I serve communities like myself. So I'm 10 years into my fitness journey, but 4 years into my natural hair journey. And I just felt at the time, which was 2018, we are too far gone for me to have to choose between my hair versus the gym, which is a popular debate which happens all the time in the community. It's either you wear a wig or weave or you do the big chop. And as far as I'm concerned, as a woman who is embracing my identity and my relationship with my hair, I should still be able to train and work out and not have to compromise any aspect of myself. So I just created a solution, which was a 5-piece collection, and I used crowdfunding to help launch that. And it's been a fantastic journey ever since, and this only the start.
Great. No, that sounds great. So it's head wraps and things that people can wear while they're training out.
It's a 5-piece collection. So there's headbands, head wraps, head scarves, hijabs, and do-rags. So they're all made with the same sweat wicking material to make sure that your hair is well protected against sweat, heat, and moisture when training, but also stylish enough so that if you don't train or if you're training and going somewhere, you still look good.
Very good. And we always want to look good even when we're training. So. Right now, so great. So the crowdfunding. So some people may see that as sort of begging for money or asking for money, but why did you crowdfund? And is it that you didn't have money to start your business? Were you not prepared, or what was your reason for crowdfunding?
So I only knew of crowdfunding from my view of crowdfunding was very limited. I thought it was something that only charities did. I didn't know that businesses or projects or people actually could crowdfund. So it was something that my mentors at the time had recommended. And I thought, no, I'm not doing that. Because that means I have to put myself out there. Everyone's going to know what I'm doing. I want to keep the wraps, etc. And I don't want any people in my business, my personal. But lockdown happened, the pandemic happened. And I always say to people who decide that they're going to crowdfund or they're curious about crowdfunding, you should still put money into your business. So I did. I just didn't have 10K. I had some, it wasn't 10K, but I think it's very important for people to know and to even put in your crowdfunding pager that you have invested in your business, because you can't expect others to invest unless you have invested. So that was it was kind of a no choice situation. Pandemic, I need the funds, and I just made the decision. I said, I'm going to launch a crowdfund in 12 days. I put it out on social media, and I was like, even if it flops, I've tried, because some people don't even get that far. So
that's true.
Like, whatever happens, and luckily it was a great success. Got the money.
That's great. So, but was it through an accelerator program, or did you just do it yourself?
So there are crowdfunding platforms that people can research and do their due diligence on. I use Crowdfunding UK. I'd heard of Crowdfunding UK, and at the time they do often sometimes have initiatives, and they had like a partnership at the time with NatWest to back her business. So they were kind of putting out their ways to support female businesses. So it was just a good ripe time to get visibility. It sounded simple, starting up the crowdfund. The team were very supportive in the beginning, and that's incredible.
Okay, great. And was it a particular type of crowdfunding? Because I know there's like reward-based crowdfunding. There's different types of crowdfunding. Which type of crowdfunding did you choose, and why?
That's a great question, because I haven't really delved deeply into the other platforms, because I didn't need to. Crowdfund seemed really simple for me, but it was pretty much a case of you can get donations and pledges. Yeah, pledges are optional, so it's a simple case of you set a target. My target was £10,000, and people can donate. The crowd can donate, but there was a rule that in order to get that £10,000, the crowd had to be a minimum of 100 people. So you can't just have a rich auntie and a rich uncle each give you 5k each. It's not going to work. It has to be considered. And according to the amount that you want to raise, it has to be seen as a crowd of people doing that. So you get donations, and you have the option of setting pledges, which I did, because that's really a great and clever way to get customer acquisition and the next step. So I had set, like, for example, one of them was, if you pledge over £25, you can get 30% off. Which was great, because that was how I got my first customers, and I call them my ride or dies, because they've been with me ever since, which is amazing.
Yeah, no, that's a really smart sort of marketing strategy as well. So, getting the crowd, getting money as well, but also building up your customer base at the same time. So that's really good. So when you sort of, started your crowdfunding, there were obviously strangers who were donating or pledging. What did you do to make the brand resonate with them, for people, I'm assuming complete strangers, to give you their money? Because there's, lots of people starting businesses and things. And why do you think they wanted to donate or pledge with Bind London?
I think two things. I made it very clear what the vision was. So it was great in terms of not all the strangers who pledge were necessarily my customers base. Some of them didn't even need, they're not the community I'm trying to serve, but they still supported because they understood the vision. And that's what I spoke about. I spoke about who I'm trying to serve and why, as opposed to the product features are. There's when it comes to crowdfunding, you have to be quite emotive. You have to tap into why people should donate and pledge. And I was extremely grateful, because £10 is for some might be very small, but a community of £10 is insane. And the fact that anyone would give up their time to go on the website, pledge £10, it accumulates. And I was extremely grateful, and I acknowledged the gratitude publicly. And I was very honest about the journey. So I think people it might have been people wanting me to get to the finish line. I saw it day by day, because literally I was on Instagram stories, Facebook stories, LinkedIn consistently every day, like, it's getting bigger, guys. So people just wanted me to get there. They were like, come on, girl, we get you to the finish line together, which is amazing.
Yeah, no, that is great. That's really good. And because I was going to ask, were most of the donations from people from the community that you serve? But as you said, they weren't, which is really interesting as well. So, so you said you were on Instagram and LinkedIn quite a lot. So were those the main social platforms that you used? And did your messaging change depending on the platform that you were using?
Yes. Not even intentionally either. I didn't really go too deep and think it in terms of the language I was using or things like that. I didn't go too deep on the content. My priority was getting in front of people's faces as much as possible, because I've delivered consultations to lots of people who want to crowdfund, and a percentage do and a percentage don't, from fear or not the right time, etc. But I think so many people focus on their graphics being amazing and things like that. I'm like, no, just open your mouth and just get the phone in your face or whatever. Just let people know, speak from the heart. And that is going to resonate with people more than a fancy graphic. But I mean, Instagram stories, I utilize Instagram. I use stories a lot. That was all day. It was lockdown. Instagram stories and WhatsApp, which pretty much repurpose onto WhatsApp status, and my Facebook stories, giving them updates as I went. Even if I was having a day where I'm just like, I'm not sure if I can do this, guys. I'm having a wobble. They saw all of that. And then LinkedIn, because there wasn't stories they were kind of dabbling with stories at the time, so I kind of gave that a go, but it was pretty much posting as often as I could, updates on what was going on.
Okay, but on LinkedIn, were you a bit more professional, or was it just still the same?
I'm not even sure. Like, I use both Instagram and LinkedIn a lot to this day, and I think the consistency of how I use the platforms has literally come from the crowdfunding, because I was posting on both so often. It's just become a habit to do the same now. But I guess with LinkedIn, it was more like long form copy. It was more, I'm giving you a written description, because I think the audience on LinkedIn are probably more likely to read that long form copy compared to Instagram. Attention span shorter. It needs to be a cute reel that gets your attention in 5 seconds, or else people scroll past. But yeah, I in terms of, like, I'd say for Instagram, I didn't go too deep on posts, because my content graphic design isn't the best. I just went on the stories and told people. I did it like a vlog, day in the life, girl trying to get her funding.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. And I saw that you were also featured in the Metro. So how did that come about, and how did you leverage that?
That was amazing. So again, I say this to people, whether it's crowdfunding or not, you just got to be in it to win it. Like, people could say it's luck, but if you're not positioned to receive that luck, then you know, the luck is not going to come to you. True. So I was literally on Twitter at the time. I need to actually get back to that and be consistent. That I was very good at the time of doing hashtag journal request to see any journalist who's looking for stories that's in relation to what you do as a brand or person, etc. They'll put it up and they'll say, I'm looking for a story about X. Send me a DM if that relates to you, etc. So it just so happened, literally 5 days into my crowdfund, someone from the Metro said, I'm looking for interesting stories over lockdown. So I just sent a message and I said, I'm crowdfunding during lockdown. Is that interesting enough for you? And she said, yeah, it is actually.
Oh, that's good. The
article went out 2 days later, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and that's good what you say. You do have to be positioned for the luck to come. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But also being proactive, like you did with that journalist, because getting featured in a Metro. You know, when I saw that, that's amazing.
Like, an interesting story could be anything, but I could have had it in my head and be like, crowdfunding, that's not interesting. I'm like, no, I'll give her some details and she can decide if it's interesting enough. And again, I kind of dip into that with the consultation without giving too much content on the consultation away. But saying it in a way that is, how'd say it, that's going to be interesting for her and the readers. Because at the end of the day, no one deep down cares about Bar London. They care about an interesting read, because that's the job. She needs the story. She doesn't, care too much about the ins and outs of my life and why I'm getting Bar London out there. It's like, is this an interesting story? Because that's what she's asked for. So I had to frame my email to her in a way that this is why it's going to be interesting for your readers, because XYZ.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's important what you said, because some people think, okay, I just need to get the journalist, which you do, but then the journalist is there to serve their readers and their community as well. So you need to pitch it in that respect as well. So I know you said you do consultations, and obviously not to give too much away, but I saw that you do have your 3 C's for when people are crowdfunding. Do you want to go in? Can you go into that?
Yes.
I've done my research.
That's just so funny. So interestingly, when I presented the 3 C's, that was at a business brunch, and I was asked to speak about crowdfunding, and I think I had like 10 minutes. I was thinking, I can't pack 90 minutes into 10. But so I created the 3 C's, and the reason I started laughing, because I was thinking, what were the 3 C's? Okay. I kind of created the acronym to kind of condense my message into 10 minutes. But I do remember it was community, consistency, and contribution. I think
I've written it down. That is correct. You done.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm testing you.
Excellent. Do you want me to go into that a bit deeper? Or?
So just I mean, only did you do your consultation, so just not to give too much away, but if there's any sort of tips or just briefly describe those three things and how someone can use that to when they're going on their crowdfunding journey or thinking about crowdfunding and why those things are important.
Yeah, so those three things are just so important. So with community, it's really making sure that as a founder or someone who's got a project, like it's your project and it's your brand, but you've got to also frame it in a way that it's not about you. You've got to make it about the community, because it doesn't, crowdfund is not going to be successful without people. So you've got to let them know they matter and they are very much valued. So you've got to kind of get that message out. Here is how this is how your contribution is going to make a difference to the mission of X, as opposed to please support me, please, I need £10, £20, because that's not going to make a person part with their money. But people love to feel part of something, and they love to feel part of a community. And when they see a group of people kickstarting something, they feel FOMO of, I'm missing out. I see everybody pledging to that crowdfund. I need to get in on that. So it's community. And then consistency, which kind of what I mentioned in terms of, your social media. And it is tiring and it is a lot of work. And especially like I deliver consultations to people who are working full time and they've got responsibilities. But if your crowdfund is 35 days, just know there's an end date. It doesn't go on for months and months and months. Just think to yourself, I'm just going to really put my head down for that number of days and be visible. Like, don't disappear because someone sees their phone on Monday doesn't mean they're going to see it on Wednesday. So it's really being consistent, and then contribution, which is similar to what I mentioned with community. Every little bit really counts, and build your community as you go, because depending on what stage you're at in your business or your project, etc., those people can really help you, which did for me, because not only were they my customers, they're your cheerleaders, and they root for you and will share things for you. So then that one voice becomes 100 voices speaking on your behalf. So so important.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so did you set the time limit for the crowdfund, and how long did it take you to get to like $5,000 and then 10 grand?
So this is a free tip that I said to people. So crowdfunder, this is a gem. So crowdfunder,
we love gems.
Crowdfunder had said that the average time, the most popular time frame to do a crowdfund is 30 days. They said that's like optimum time, because it's not too short, it's not too long. They said where it can get like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, people kind of start to lose interest. And there's always this pattern, and it happens regardless of time frame, where you've let people know that the crowdfund's live, you get some excitement, then there's a dip. I just called it the valley dip, where people know they exist. If they haven't pledged in the beginning, they might just forget about it. And then at the end, when they know there's a few days left, it kind of goes like that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make it 35 days and I'm going to make it cross 2 paydays.
Smart.
So I launched on the 1st of May, which was a Friday. People just got paid. So I'm like, I'm going to catch you there. And if I don't catch you there, I'm going to catch you at the start of June.
That is smart. Good. Actually.
I did it like that, which worked very well. So there's a gem. Frame it around paydays.
Yeah, good stuff. And so you said you do consultations, so paid consultations. So what happens in those? What will people get out of those, and why should people look to doing those consultations with you?
Yes. So that all came off the back of succeeding with the crowdfund, and people had seen the transparency and the highs and the wobbles and everything. But where it did, it gave a lot of people a boost of confidence and thought, well, if she can do it, I can do it. So I got a lot of DMs. How did you do this? How did you do this? If I decide to go live, etc. So great questions. And luckily my accountability partner at the time was like, you need to stop answering all these DMs and put a workshop together. And then I put together a masterclass. I'm a former teacher, so I love to put like a lesson together. So I took the knowledge from the crowdfund and my knowledge of teaching and put a masterclass together. That was super successful, and I did quite a few. And then people wanted more. They were like, sorry, the cat.
Right. Hello.
They wanted more bespoke advice. They wanted time to talk about their own business and their own questions. So the masterclass became the consultation where people could book in one-to-one. I'm still going to give you pretty much I'm very transparent in all the strategies that worked for me. And then there's that time after, good chunk of time to have a good Q&A and ask your questions and things like that. And people can do follow-ups as well. But I'm pretty much like, this is exactly what I did. There's screenshots of the conversations I've had. I've pretty much how I spoke to like the Metro, for example, screenshot of the email, the DMs, like what I said to people and how I was able to get the donations, etc. So it's very much, you've got the blueprint. There's no reason why you can't
just do it. Yeah,
I've pretty much shown you everything. And these are things which I didn't know before. I learned as I went. So if you're armed with that before, it's impossible for you not to.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked some things you said. So at the beginning, you said, you had a mentor who suggested the crowdfunding, and then also your accountability partner as well said you should stop, replying to these DMs. I think that's really good that you had those two types of people. So what would you say is the easiest thing about crowdfunding and the hardest thing about crowdfunding?
Easy about crowdfunding.
There's no such thing as easy crowdfunding.
What's easy about crowdfunding? I'd say I don't want to put people off.
Yeah. Okay.
People off. That's a challenging one because nothing worth having comes easy. Like it's not easy. I'm not going to say the crowdfunding is easy, because if it was, there wouldn't be a funding issue.
Yes.
Every crowdfund. It's easy. Do you know what? It is easy to do. It's simple to do. There's a difference between simple and easy. It's simple to set up. It's very simple to set up. A 7-year-old could set up a crowdfunding page. And it is easy to do. It's just what's difficult to do is people's mindset.
Trying to change people's mindset.
I think it's the mindset of someone just making the decision to crowdfund, because I deliver lots of consultations and fear just gets some people. You can pay X amount for my consultation and I'm very grateful, but I can't do the crowdfund for you. You've got to take that knowledge and apply. And then if, some people are armed with the knowledge, they know all I was going to say secrets, they're not secrets, the strategies, and they know everything. So they can go out and do it. But fear just gets people, fear of getting out there, fear of doing the work. So I think that's difficult. It's in people's heads. And I mean, like we discussed earlier, there are strangers who will pledge. Like my biggest pledges were strangers. Crazy. Yeah. My family did not pledge until the last couple of days. So, people can talk themselves out of anything.
That is true.
Fear allows them. They'll say, I don't know enough people. I don't have the time. It's your brand, it's your project. So if you don't get it moving, no one else is going to. So that sounds so hard.
No, but it's the truth though. Yeah, and especially when it comes to money. Yeah,
the steps to crowdfunding is very simple. It's just what makes it difficult is that
mindset and the fear of asking people for money. But no, that is true. You can get in your own way sometimes, really. So, but So no, thanks for sharing some of your tips and your gems that you gave away. Obviously, you do have consultations, so you can't divulge everything, but yeah, people can hit you up on social media if they're interested in your consultations. And I just wanted to quickly ask. So I know you won a Startup of the Year award. So how did that come about?
Oh, that was great. So that was this is where the universe really universe / God had my back. It's crazy because the second business event, like I said, I went on Eventbrite and I was like typing up business events to attend in London. The second one that I attended was the first one was where I got my mentor, and the second one was an event called Precious Nights. So it's like a business event at the British Library for women of colour who want to upskill in business. And I went to that event, and then from there I'd heard about the Precious Awards. That was I think it was Santander and in alignment with the British Library. So they have these awards to celebrate women of colour in business. And I got nominated once I'd launched, which is just crazy how it kind of comes back around. And I went by myself and won Startup of the Year. And it's really putting yourself out there. Like the content was there, which helps because people saw the journey, and there's judges, so they were able to look up what Bind London had done. It does help. I understand people say hustle in silence, but sometimes being visible really does help.
Yeah, definitely. You got to speak. You got to have the content out there so they could see what you were doing as well.
Exactly. It wasn't hard to find. It's out there, and definitely in terms of like future opportunities, when it comes to speaking engagements and other opportunities drop. I'm the founder of an award-winning brand. It does help open the door from like a peak to like, we want to hear more. So have the long-term vision of how important that visibility is.
Sure, no, definitely does help. And so where can people find you if they want to find out more about you or just follow your journey?
The platforms that I mentioned, so Instagram, at Kayleigh Benoit _ I'm on all the platforms, to be honest. Instagram and LinkedIn are the two that I love to use the most, but also on Facebook, TikTok.
Okay. And that's at Kayleigh Benoit or at Bind London? Which one do you prefer?
There's both. So there's at Kayleigh Benoit for, I guess, the behind the scenes entrepreneurial journey. And then with Bind London, the main platforms are Instagram and TikTok. I give a lot of behind the scenes on there. People enjoy the TikTok. So yeah, those are the two main. But I always signpost and cross over. So.
Okay, great.